I just got back from a trip to Orlando. I was visiting my parents. They're down in the camper. I wanted to show you guys some meal prepping and kind of planning ahead with nutritional stuff, kind of continuing what I'm doing, my tracking and all that, while away from home. Because of course that's going to be harder, but also I want to show you kind of what I've talked about as far as sustainability. And I don't really, out of everything I've done in the past, I want to do this, and the reason it's lasted so long and why I'm continuing to get results with it and tinkering and figuring it out, but still maintaining a lower body fat, is I'm making this a sustainable approach. And one of those things is enjoying the process, enjoying the food. So a lot of the times, at home it's a lot easier, especially working for myself, working at home. I have my food prepped, it's ready, it's always there, so it's easy for me to stay on track and to track stuff. As I've shown you before, I actually have a redundant tracking system where I have my paper, where I just write stuff down, and then I also use the free MyFitnessPal where I input the data. So I'm always tracking the stuff as I go. And actually I need to transfer, because I brought the paper with me and I did the first day, but then after that I just kind of left it in the bag and I didn't continue to write the stuff down. However, I did input all the things into MyFitnessPal because that was just easier to whip out my phone. It's all about averages. It's not about being specific. I didn't have my scale, no big deal. I just went with what I could. I prepped a few things in advance before I left, so I brought like my oatmeal and I had my protein powder and the PB powder, peanut butter powder, some different supplements, some energy stuff, some coffee. Went shop. They have a camper, so I did have some room in the fridge, so I was able to get a couple things. But the majority of the time, I knew, and I wanted to. There's this place that's my favorite pizza place that I have ever been to. They're a family-owned small place. They make their own crust, and that's what's most important to me. I love the crust, but we always get the loaded pizza. We always have at Upper Crust in Celebration. So we did that. I actually ended up having 4 slices overall. I had 2 slices when it was fresh, and then I think 2 days later, I had 2 more slices. And we had a bunch of grilled chicken. We had salads. We went to Earl of Sandwich. Where did we go? I went to Starbucks, and I had my cafe lattes. I had a lot of things, but I always had my oatmeal in the morning. I continued my workout, so I still continued my training schedule, but on a lesser, more recovery-style week, where I did basically just one muscle group, like a bro split. Like Monday was chest, which I did actually before I left, because I left later in that day. So I was able to do my heavier weights with that. But I brought my Select Tech, no, sorry, not Select Tech, that was my old set of weights. I brought my Power Blocks, there we go. And those, I brought my smaller ones though, so it's 3 pounds up to 24 pounds. And I just worked out in front of the camper in the mornings. I managed to get it in, even though it was getting cooler here in Florida, cold, but 60 degrees, 50 degrees. Rained a little bit, but I managed to get my stuff in. I went running for the first time since I've been doing all this, and really the first time in years. But my focus was one muscle group, so Monday was chest, Tuesday was back, Wednesday was legs, Thursday was shoulders, Friday was arms. And then every day I always did 5 minutes of core. Like I just set my watch for 5 minutes. I hit start and I rotate through different core engaging moves from forward to rotational. And I just try to maintain core engagement as long as possible during that time until my watch starts vibrating and tells me it's done. And then I did 10 to 12 minutes of just cardio after. So that usually involved either I'd run around the campground, just running, and I would do either some steady state with some sprints, because believe it or not, there's actually a few hills, because it's a little more northern Florida, and where the KOA is, there were some different hills, so I could do some fun hill sprints, and then I brought my jump rope, actually, so I was able to do a variety of different jump rope moves, which are inspired from my past experience doing the Insanity Asylum workouts. I just kind of cycled through different moves that I remember doing in that, and just for the time. And I would do burpees as well, and then just do the sprints and the running. So I did that every morning. So just little bits of time. I think it took me somewhere with all that, probably 45 minutes max on my workouts. Nothing crazy, but I managed to stay with it. And then, of course, we were super active. We walked around the parks, Epcot. We took the new, I always say this wrong, the gondola. I don't know. They have this new like air thing that goes between the resorts, kind of like a ski lift. So that was kind of fun. We went around, but we walk insane, like just miles and miles. And I was actually getting pretty tired pretty early, so it was nice to go to bed around like 10. Kind of broke my routine that I had here at home, where my sleep was kind of suffering, because I would fall asleep on the couch, TV would be on, I'd stay up later than I physically should have, like I was tired. So I'm trying to maximize my sleep, is what I'm saying, and I actually managed to kind of get into a good routine with that, and I'm trying to keep that going. So basically no TV first thing in the morning, and I'm trying to at least set the sleep timer on the TV so it turns off, so I'm not kind of in that hovering stage of not quite asleep. And I'm feeling good. I'm getting about 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So I'm trying to maximize and working on that. So while I do that, and while I do the new workout program for the next 6 weeks, that'll be interesting. But what I want to show you, and what we'll do is I'll skip over to my computer and we'll go through, because that's where I tracked my stuff. I'll show you what I ate and kind of the calorie goals, and just kind of talk about it. Just showing you what I did away from home and how I was able to continue the path. I also did before pictures the day I left, and kind of a little video there to kind of show you where my body fat was. And then I have one when I got back, just kind of show you a week away from doing the standard planning and tracking, but also enjoying myself, having pizza, having some really good homemade food. It was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of calories, so I was able to enjoy even more food, which is the most amazing thing, because I love to eat and I love good food. Love grilled chicken specifically. Oh, and we bought this, my mom and dad got Atlantic salmon at Sam's Club, and it is, oh my God, we put that on the grill with some lemon pepper and just kind of caramelized it. I ended up having a double serving of that. I had to estimate, because I don't know, like I said, I didn't have my scale. I just kind of guessed. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. So I did roughly maybe 12 ounces a total portion, so like a lot of salmon, but oh, so good, so worth it. And I just want to show you guys, it was kind of like a higher fats over the week, but I still focused on roughly, give or take, like I mentioned in my 3 tips videos, the calories in versus calories out. And then like my previous deficit video, kind of the accounting for energy burned above and beyond what it takes just to live and breathe and be alive, from fitness and from all the activity of the extra walking, the extra activity that I don't normally do when I'm at home, just in my normal day-to-day routine. So I ate a little bit more, I ate higher fats, just that's the way it went with the food that we were eating, with like pizza and of course the salmon and just a variety of other things. I took some video of some of the foods. I meant to kind of do a vlog so I could show you the stuff. Not a talking vlog, but I wanted to show you the different foods. I did get the pizza and I got a few other meals, and I did show kind of how I prepped my morning stuff, how I had that ready with my oatmeal, so that meal was good to go. But I failed to record the salmon and Earl of Sandwich. I didn't get that. I normally get their tuna melt, but I thought I'd try like an in-between healthier choice, and I went with the tuna wrap, the spicy tuna wrap, and my mom actually got the same thing. Unfortunately, I should have just got the tuna melt. I should have just gone with my classic and just gone all in, but I did the tuna, the wrap, and it was good, but it didn't taste that great, and it was just that experience then. My mom and I were both just like, I don't know what was up, because it wasn't really that busy. Anyway, it was a really poorly made wrap. Like, there's like nothing in it. It was more just a flour tortilla than anything, like folded over. So whoever made the sandwich, whoever was on wrap duty, did not do a very good job. So unfortunately, that experience of going out to eat, that's kind of subpar. I could have made the same wrap at home and could have made it way better. So that was unfortunate. Where the tuna melt is always so consistent and so good. So next time I'm just going to do that because I enjoy it. And that's part of making this whole thing sustainable. So let's hop over on the computer and I'll go through MyFitnessPal login, and we'll kind of go over some of the foods that I ate while I was away, and you'll see the before and after pictures as well. Okay, we're going to buzz through this more or less. This isn't going to be like breaking down everything. Like I said, it's more about averages, but also the discipline. Because there's no point, just because going on vacation, you don't have to throw everything out. You can still focus on calories in versus calories out. You can still have all those foods that might be considered cheat foods, but I don't have to do the whole cheat thing. Because I feel like that's the wrong mindset to go at this. Because if you have to have a cheat day, cheat week, cheat vacation, whatever, that's going to set you in that yo-yo process, where if you just go at this for sustainability over time, and you just plan to enjoy yourself, but keep it roughly within the calories in versus calories out. Like, I continued my fitness and I continued tracking, but I didn't go too crazy, and I didn't, it wasn't like, oh, I have to eat this specific way and I can't eat what they're eating kind of thing. I enjoy pizza, so, and I knew that was something I was going to do. Actually, I looked forward to it, but it wasn't something that's going to throw me off. And actually, I was a little wrong in the pre-video that I shot. I actually had 5 slices total. I forgot. When we got it fresh, I had 3 in that one sitting. And I actually remember, I didn't feel stuffed at all, and I didn't feel bloated or bad after, because I don't eat that stuff every single day. So you can enjoy those kind of things when, I don't know about you, but before I started all this meal prepping and all this focus on my nutrition in April, I was just continuously bloated. I just uncomfortably bloated, just didn't feel good because of just cheese and fats and just not tracking anything. Tons of sugar in all my stuff. I was eating candy. I was putting easily 4 teaspoons if I had measured. I put 2 teaspoons, but they were rounded teaspoons. I was probably putting about 3 to 4 teaspoons of sugar in my coffee, and I would have probably 2 of those in the day. So that's almost 8 teaspoons of sugar plus candy plus just all these different things. If I had oatmeal, I put sugar in it, just all this stuff. So I think the biggest change, and we'll get to this, the biggest change in my nutrition overall is the fact that I removed table sugar. I don't eat candy. I'm not against it. I could. I just don't want to. I enjoy the things that I have now are sweet enough. They're when I have my oatmeal, especially when I add the Legion protein powder in there, it's so good and so sweet. I would rather eat an apple than candy right now. That's just the way it is, because of the way I've set this up. It's sustainable. It's enjoyable. Can I have candy? Sure. Do I want it? Not really, because those calories it's not worth the experience. The experience to me right now it isn't that good. So I would rather have something that is nutritionally dense, also enjoyable and sweet, so it's like a dessert, where candy it just feels empty. It just feels like all I'd be doing is just feeding this mental thing. But it's not really, when I really think about it, it's just not that good. Let's face it, I don't know about you, but before I started actually focusing on this stuff, I would eat a bag of candy, no problem, one sitting, one night. But it wasn't really for the experience. I didn't enjoy every piece and every bit of flavor. It was just kind of a mindless experience. That was it. It was just, there was no reason for it. So I removed that stuff, and you've seen the results that I've had and that I've been able to sustain. So let's jump into this. This is the day that I left. So I just wanted to show you more or less the overall kind of how I went about this. You can kind of look at this stuff, pause and whatever. Most of the stuff is pretty accurate. Some of the stuff, especially when I was away, is just kind of a guess. And some things don't really matter. Like meal 4, cucumbers, I could have 5 cucumbers, and the calorie impact is so minimal. But even so, nickel and diming, things like that, little bits add up. So I like to put stuff in and just kind of estimate. So this is before I left. I had my morning stuff. I was trying to get rid of or get through the things that I needed to do since I was going to be gone a week. I didn't want stuff to go bad, so I was getting rid of the yogurt that I had, so I had that. I had a bunch of fresh stuff, so I either chopped up, prepped things and put it in the freezer before I left, or I chopped it up, prepped it, and brought it with me. This was just, basically I'd have my oatmeal usually, but I had a kind of a yogurt thing to use up the yogurt that I had. and then I had some baked potatoes that I had made. Still have a bunch in the freezer, but I had one of those, which was a much larger portion than I would usually have. But I knew I was going to be driving. I was going to be on the road for a few hours, and I just wanted to use it up. And also I had to use up the last bit of chicken, fresh chicken I had cooked sitting in the fridge. And then I just have this Ezekiel bread. I just wanted some extra calories, some extra carbs before I left. So all of these, meal 1 and meal 2, meal 3 as well was, this was before I left. So up to meal 3, this was still at home. Then I left, and then this is when I got to the camper and was in Orlando, away from home, away from my scale, away from my stuff. We still ate really well. We went out shopping actually to Publix this night, our local grocery store, and further throughout the week we went to like Walmart and Sam's Club and got some extra stuff. So we ate out a few times, and then we cooked in a few times at the camper. I brought some rice cakes with me, so I had these for snacks. Oh yeah, I even had some tequila. I enjoyed some drinks. I mean, that's kind of empty calories too, but it tastes good. I don't do anything special with my tequila these days. I don't make like a fancy drink or anything. I just took those straight, just shots. I'm telling you, when you change your taste buds, like when you go about doing the things that I've done, like even like a shot of tequila is really good. Not promoting alcohol or anything like that, but I enjoy occasionally sustainability. I'm not going to say I'm never going to drink again. I like to have some shots here and there. Do I need to go crazy? No. 2 ounces, that was 2 shots, 1 ounce each, more than enough. Felt fine, was good. We made this in the camper. My mom actually grilled on the propane grill. We grilled a bunch of chicken. I estimated 8 ounces. I've gotten pretty good at portions just based on looking at it from just doing this for months and months and months, but it's give or take, whatever. Doesn't really matter. And then we made some salads. It was like a lettuce mix, but I just put in iceberg lettuce. It doesn't matter, really. It's very negligible as far as calorie impact, so whatever. I had bought some salsa when we were out, and then I also bought some guacamole. So I do that in place of dressing, salt, pepper. I actually go through a lot of sodium because I sweat a lot and I continue to work out and stuff like that. So I sweat it out. So I've actually increased my sodium intake, which has actually helped me not have cramps, and which is cool because I think before I wasn't getting enough sodium because I would occasionally run into cramps. That's just one element of the whole thing, but my sodium level, I believe this is all just, and I had my blood work, sodium's great, so I just put salt on a lot of different things, and I continue to watch my blood work, and it's all good to go. So that's important. If you need to set a baseline, if you don't know where you're at, get a blood test and just see where you're at, see what's up with your vitamins and minerals and all your balances. So moving forward here, these are things that we had my parents had in the fridge. My mom made the salads, so she put feta cheese on that, which is so tasty. I don't usually use cheese these days, but I love feta, and it was one of those things. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on every day like this, but not as we go through this. But feta cheese, for an example, she put it on the salad, and after she handed it to me, it's like, oh, whoops, maybe I should have asked you, and I was like, no big deal, it's fine. Where maybe you've tried doing diet things or you've been on restrictions or whatever, and maybe you'd freak out or be like, oh no, there's feta, and you try to pick it out, or it would ruin your meal because, there was cheese added to it and you didn't want cheese because it was against your nutritional approach or whatever. Not a big deal. Doesn't matter. This was one meal, and then we had feta in the salad later on. I didn't eat a whole block of it. It was all good. It's just going to chill, okay? It's more about calories in versus calories out and just rolling with it, okay? Did we have like a pile of ice cream? Did I have a bag of candy? Did I have 8 shots of tequila? No, that's excessive. Didn't need that. This was good. So instead of dressing anyway, I use salsa and guac. That's what I used a lot on these. And then we bought some fresh pears and chopped those up. It was 1 pear between the 3 of us, so I just did a third. And then I had some rice cakes just for some snacks. I have these little Isexperia. I was trying out these energy chews, and they're so good. They're basically like caffeine, and I use these kind of in between. They're very negligible, like 25 calories each, but I use them it's basically like a cup of coffee, but it's just like a piece of candy, more or less. And so I just pop those when we're like out at the parks, out walking, in between meals, things like that. Just extra energy boost. And I had some, this was in the morning before I left. I had my espresso and then I had my milk. I was using up the milk as much as I could. So before I left, I ended up having the 2 cups. This is normal. I tend to have about 2 cups of 2%. I use a decent amount of dairy. Like I said, I have the conventional approach to my nutrition, nothing crazy. It's just a very straight up, I include fats, proteins, carbs, like everything kind of in balance. I eat meat, but I also eat a lot of vegetables and fruits. I made my no flour peanut butter cocoa muffins, which I'll do a video on those coming up because they're so good. It is straight up like a dessert. It doesn't feel like you're eating like a healthier version of a muffin. It tastes like you are eating a full fat muffin. It is so good. The only thing I do every once in a while is usually use all peanut butter, like straight up. I use a natural peanut butter, so it has lesser sugars. Not like I don't use Jiffy or Jif or whatever it is, or any of those that have higher sugar content. I use the peanut butters that have basically no added sugars or a very minimal amount. So anyway, I mixed it up though. I did the low sugar natural peanut butter, and then the other half of the portion that I put in the recipe was made out of the PB powder, which is much lower fat, lower calories. That's all, because I want to spread my calories out throughout the day. I don't want to have them all at once. So that's why I do that, because I like to graze. I like to eat throughout the day. And I had some honey with, this is kind of a mixture of things I had before I left and then when I did leave. I had these carrots in the car just kind of as a snack when I was driving. It's about a 2.5 hours to 3 hours. And the pistachios before I left as well. Just so I had calories. I didn't want to go hypo and be like low blood sugar or anything. I like to just sustain a nice energy balance throughout the day. And all was good, actually. One of the days, I can't remember if it was, got there Monday. I want to say it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. Might have been Tuesday. One of the days, I did not plan well between when we had breakfast, I did my workouts and stuff, to when I went to the parks, to when we ended up eating. So I did have one day where I felt like I should have brought some snacks with me. So that was, I fixed that later on throughout the week. I made sure I always had snacks and I was always prepared. So I didn't hit that kind of just lack of energy, hypo feeling where you're just like, ugh. And that happened one day and that didn't happen again. So I hit around, my goal right now is roughly 2,500 calories a day. Now I'm burning probably between 100 to 400 calories a day. So that's actually, if you create the deficit, if my total is 2,500 and say I'm burning 100, then I actually have only eaten about 2,400. If it's up my higher range with my fitness minus 400, then I really only ate about 2,100 calories. So I'm still eating in kind of a deficit, and I'm tinkering with that to find where this all fits together so I can maintain being a lower body fat, but also have energy to perform. Where a couple months ago, when I got about 4 months in, I was eating too far into a deficit, and I kind of hit a wall where my hormones and my body fat and everything was just hormones were out of whack, my body fat was getting super low, and my energy was just suffering. I could feel it in my workouts, everything, my mood, my energy. So that's why I adjusted things. Then I kind of went on the higher end, and I created a huge surplus, like a lot. I was looking at some of my days; they were like 3,500 calories, maybe even a little bit more. So then I wasn't feeling good because I was feeling bloated all the time. So now I've brought it back in between, where 2,500 seems to be good, and I'm going to tinker up to about 2,750. So in that range. I just put the numbers there, and that's what I aim for. If I go a little above, great. If I go a little under, that's okay, but I'm trying to at least hit 2,500. Like I said, up to 2,750 is cool. I don't worry about these red numbers and stuff. I don't really care. And then protein, I always try to hit around 150-ish grams. Sometimes it's a little bit higher, just for my understanding of muscle synthesis and all that stuff, and facilitating, at least maintaining lean muscle. Let's move on so I don't talk all day. I don't want to make this video an hour long. So the 12th, just had my oatmeal. I basically would always get up every morning. I had bought the, I think it's Chameleon or something. It's like a coffee concentrate. And I bought that, and I'd have that usually in the morning, just cover my coffee. And then I brought a bunch of those no-flour muffins. So those would usually be I'd have that first thing in the morning. I like to eat. I've experimented with intermittent fasting. I've experimented with fasted workouts and all those different things. But personally, I like to eat and carb up and have all that stuff before I do my workout. So I tend to eat first thing in the morning. When I'm at home, I have my coffee, and then I usually have my oatmeal, and then I usually do my workout. Like I said, I did fasted workouts. That was cool too. But for my goals right now, it doesn't really seem necessary. It's really all the same. You can fast workout, do fasted workouts. You can do intermittent fasting, or you can just eat all day. And I mean, this is my personal subjective experience. I think end goal, though, as long as you eat for sustainability and you focus on calories in versus calories out and getting enough protein, you're going to end up in the same place. So maybe fasting can help you get there fast. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know I'm at where I'm at, and I'm happy with it. And I just eat nice and balanced. Nothing crazy. So this day, I made sure to save my calories. Oh, I'm so excited to get out. I love going to Upper Crust so much. It's not in my Fitness Pal, so this is just an average. I don't know. It was just a loaded pizza. No idea. But I picked something that sounded about right, and I put it in my Fitness Pal. This is what was already there in a meal. They don't have nutritional facts. They're a mom and pop kind of place. They're a small thing, so there's no averages or nutritional facts online that I could find. So no big deal. I just put in this, so 3 slices, so good. And then we ended up going back to the camper. We had a lot of chicken and salads. I don't know if that's how they would normally eat, but that's what I really wanted to get some chicken and stuff, and they were all about it, and they had tons of things to make salads, so that's what we did pretty much every night. And then we'd go out to eat here and there in between, where I had this, when we were out and about, either at the parks or we went to this place called Block Tower, which I'll show you here soon. And let me see, I had, these are just, let me see, snacks. These were, usually I put my supplements under snack 1. So I ended up having, I used 1 scoop of the Legion Whey in my oatmeal in the morning, and then I just had a protein shake before we left, because I was trying to make sure I had enough energy throughout the days. I'm trying to think of when. I don't think it was this day that I hit the low. There was one day where it was kind of off, where I didn't plan. I didn't really eat enough, so we had this long gap in between eating, and I didn't bring any snacks with me. So it just kind of was what it was. This day, I had my morning no-flour muffin. This day, we went to Epcot here, because I remember there's Starbucks. Usually there's Starbucks in. I wanted to get a cafe latte, which is, there's no sugar added. It's just steamed milk and espresso. But they are closed right now, and they removed it entirely from Epcot while they're doing construction, and they have this place called Joffrey's. And I went, and it was a hot day, but I got a hot coffee, and I asked the lady if it was how many shots, and she said, I honestly didn't hear her. I thought she said 2, I don't know, but I watched her when she made it. It was one of those automated espresso machines, and she pushed the single shot button, and then she poured 2 cups of whole milk. So it was basically like brown milk. It was just nasty. I make strong coffee. It was nasty. It was worthless. So I actually ended up just tossing it out. I felt bad. I hate wasting stuff, but I didn't want to waste my calories on drinking 2 cups of whole milk that kind of tasted like coffee, because it was only a single shot. It was really a waste of money. So I ended up drinking about a cup of it before I threw it away. So that's why I put this in here. So it was about a cup of whole milk. Then later I ended up stopping at Starbucks later on in the day and having that. I'm trying to remember some of the different things. Doesn't matter. And then I had carrots and the natural peanut butter as a snack. So that was good. So this day I hit a little under, but it was good. Moving on. The 13th, had my oatmeal in the morning. Also the no-flour muffin, which would be down in the bottom. Yeah, see, here you go. Chameleon cold brew. It wasn't the mocha. That's just from another entry that I had, but it's similar. It was a cold brew. It was espresso concentrate, but basically the same thing. Doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact, especially if it's just coffee in this entry, it doesn't really matter because it's negligible. Doesn't matter. And then they usually do a French press brewed coffee in the morning, so I actually added the concentrate to the brewed coffee with breakfast. And we ended up, let me see, I went to Starbucks that day. They had a Starbucks within it's like a mile from the campground, so that was awesome. We ended up going there from this point, I think, every day, and I had my cafe latte every day. One of the days was buy one, get one free, so that was really cool. So I ended up getting my cafe latte, which is a double shot, and then for my second drink, I got a 4-shot just of espresso. And then I just poured it together, so that was 6 shots total. So good. I love caffeine so much, guys. I had my rice cakes, white cheddar rice cakes. Just ate those as snacks, carrots. I had some tequila that night too, a couple shots. I brought a bunch of gala apples, which I'll show you. You'll see that in some of the clips I'll put in, and then some honey. This is the day we went to. Is this the day we went to Bok Tower? Yes, this is the day we went to Bok Tower. I brought the pups. They had a good time. It's nice, peaceful. It's a beautiful place, just calm. It's kind of a nice nature walk. And we went to their cafeteria here, and I got a salad that they had with had tuna salad on it. So I have no idea what's in it. Again, I just estimated it was roughly about a half a cup. So I just put that in tuna salad in MyFitnessPal. I picked the one that looked about right. Good enough. And they had a piece of flatbread chopped into quarters, so it was about a piece. Again, just an average, and there was avocado on it, I guessed. This is all just a guess, but good enough. So this day, yeah, see, we went about 2,700-ish, give or take. Good day. All this, without my food scale and all things like that, is just guessing. And like I said, I'll show you the before-afters, which maybe you've already seen. I don't know where I'm going to put this together in the video. I'm just going to kind of skip through the rest of these things just so you can see, but I'm not going to talk about every single day here. This day, this is after I had that day. Yeah, it was 2 days prior that I had that day. I kind of didn't plan and had that long gap in between where I was feeling a little bit low. And I looked for snacks that day at Disney, but everything they had was just straight up junk. I just didn't like everything, and not to mention just super overpriced. It was like $5.50 for, I don't know, a dozen grapes. Not even kidding. I was like, that's just stupid. I can't justify spending, even if I'm hungry, I could not justify spending the money that they were asking for a small thing of like a half a sliced apple was like $5. I can't do it. I can't. Even though I was hungry, I knew I was going to get food. We were going to go home. So I didn't bother. I just kind of dealt with it. And then I just made sure that the following days I prepped and I was ready to go, either having calories right before, bringing some snacks with me to munch on, just to make sure I stayed in a nice energy balance. And so this day is when I finished off the pizza. I had pizza, I think right before we left. I ended up having, and then some of the grilled chicken we had in the fridge from the night before, just sliced some of that up, and I put that in the toaster oven with the pizza. So I had a big, fat, protein, carb meal, and it was so good. Right before we went to the park, I don't remember if we went to Epcot this day as well. I don't know. We went around. We were around Disney. It was fun. It was a good time. And then we had the salad and more chicken. I had a lot of chicken. I love that it's just good, clean, leaner meat for just protein. And then you can see the snacks here. So more honey. And this is just a random generic entry, but the honey is good stuff. We went to this place. It's near Bok Tower. I don't remember what the exact town is, but it's literally a farm. They harvest the honey there, and they have this self-serve honor system thing where it's like a box where you put the cash, and you can just grab it. But it is fresh orange blossom raw honey. I mean, straight up, not manufactured anywhere, from the land right then and there. And I still have a big jug, and I've been putting that in my coffee. It is amazing. So anyway, I had some of that. We had some in tea, and I had some, I think I just sampled some. So it is so good. So yeah, you can see I get sugar. I eat tons of sugar. I just don't put it in. I get fructose, lactose, and then of course things like this. But I don't really eat table sugar at all, and I don't really eat candy or anything like that these days. So this day was a little bit under, on average. It could have been a little bit more than what's here. It could have been a little bit less. I don't know, but good enough. It just kind of kept me within range. Thursday. So Friday, I ended up leaving Saturday. So let's go quickly through here. And these are things, I had prepped my oatmeal, so I had most of the stuff with me. I had gala apples. I brought enough for having my oatmeal every single morning and enough protein for that as well. And then I did more nuts than usual. Usually I do a half serving, I do 14 grams, but every day I was having 28 grams. And this was the day we went to Earl's Sandwich. The wrap was, for the calorie, for what I spent on it, I pulled their nutritional facts. Being the corporate restaurant, they actually have nutritional facts. So I pulled the data from their website. Honestly, I think it was probably a little bit less because I had the balsamic vinaigrette on the side, which usually doesn't have any calories, but I had that on the side. And like I said, the filling was like not there. It was basically just a flour wrap with a little bit of stuff inside. But there was like one bite I bit into, and it was folded over wrap. So there was like 6 layers of just flour. And it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I like flour wraps and stuff. I'm just saying, for what you pay for, it was really just something we could have just made at home for a lot cheaper. So whatever. But we were out in Disney Springs just enjoying ourselves, walking around. We took the boat ride over to some of the resorts, and we just walked around and just staying active. It was a lot of fun, just spending time away from home. But sticking with it, making sure it's sustainable. We went back, had some salad again, more feta cheese. This was the night they grilled we went to Sam's Club on the way back, and we grilled up some salmon, and it was fantastic. I ended up having, I guess, about 6 ounces, might have been a little bit more, and then I went back, and there was one more piece, and I had that too. So you can't say I don't eat. Oh my God, I eat, and it was so good. So I ended up having like a bunch of salmon. I had this wrap. I had 5 slices of pizza. I went out and had Starbucks every day, most of the days anyway. But I also brought some of my snacks like carrots and apples and my oatmeal and the variety of things I put in the oatmeal. I had tequila again, just one shot this night. We were tired when we got back. It was a long day, and this is right before dinner. So I just took a shot and just relaxed. We usually would watch a movie at night. And I just would get tired around like 9 or 10, and we'd just go to bed. And I usually would get up between 5 and 7 in the morning, and that's when I'd kind of get up. And that was my time. They usually sleep in until about 7 to 8. My mom's up a little earlier sometime, but because we were sharing the camper. And I'd do my workouts in front in the mornings, walk the dogs, all that stuff, because they were with me. And it was just a good time. And I had 2 of these muffins. I think I brought one with me when we were out and about this day. Oh yeah, at Disney Springs, we stopped at Ghirardelli as well, and I got they give you a free chocolate square, and I ate that. So I actually did. That was like the first piece of candy I've had in a long time, and it was really, really good. I made sure to enjoy it, but it was super sweet, super sweet. My taste buds are just, so this day was about $27.50, give or take, roughly. But my taste buds now are, like, I can handle spicier things, and I taste subtleties in, like, vegetables. I can taste the sweetness in that. Like, corn is super sweet to me. Sweet potatoes, obviously, super sweet. They are higher in sugar, natural sugars. But the piece of candy, though, was, oh, my God, it was just sweet. But it was fantastic. It was so good. I had that on the way back before we had dinner. We were in their truck that day. I drove some of the days, they drove some of the days, but this was after Sam's Club. And I just wanted a little extra calories, a little boost, so I had one of those. Well, I had the one that I got, and I think I ended up having this energy chew as well, this caffeine. So I'm an energy junkie. I love caffeine so much, speaking of which. All right, this video is going to be long, but whatever. If you're this far in, thanks for watching. I appreciate your views, likes, subs, anything that you do that helps me grow this channel and grow this content and shows me that it is in some way at least entertaining at the minimum, but otherwise maybe a little educational. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist or anything like this. This is just my subjective experience and feeling like I finally have locked this in after doing and spending so many years getting all this wrong. I finally, this year, 2019, moving forward, have this right, and I'm able to dial it in more and more and experiment and figure this out. So I'm just sharing the process kind of in a vlog format and showing you, and of course showing you the results as they happen over time. So you can see that not only am I talking, but I'm showing you what's happening with my body. So So far, so good. This day is, let me see, Saturday. I ended up, this is the day I left, so I had I had oatmeal with them in the morning. I ran out of my protein powder that day. I ended up having it when I got home because I had the big tub here, but my prep stuff I ran out of, so I ended up I wanted a boost of calories since I was going to be on the road for a few hours. I had higher fats, higher calories, so I had some portioned 2 tablespoon portions of peanut butter, natural peanut butter, just straight up. So I put that in the oatmeal as well as the PB powder that I had, and then some of my other normal things. And I had bought some unsweetened cashew milk with a touch of almond milk, it says. So I added that. This is my oatmeal. And that was it. And then everything else, besides the snacks and a few different things, like we ended up and had breakfast. I didn't have a workout on Saturday. I ended up, when I got home, I'll tell you that real quick as I wrap this up, but we ended up going to Starbucks, and I had my cafe latte there, and then I hit the road, and I had the no-flour muffin. I had one in the morning, first thing, and then I had one on the drive as just kind of a boost of calories and energy, and that was it. And everything else is when I got home, so I ended up having sweet potato. I made an egg white scramble. I actually found it cheaper just to buy whole eggs, and I just separate the yolk, and usually I just toss the yolk out. I'll use it sometimes. I might use 1 or 2 yolks because I get plenty. I don't care about tossing out the minerals and the nutrition that you would get inside the yolk because I get so much from everything else that I'm eating. It's so balanced. But every once in a while, for just extra flavor, a few extra calories, I will leave like 1 or 2 of the yolks in, and then the rest will be egg whites. And I'll make a scramble. When I first started all this stuff, I was doing a lot of hard-boiled eggs, which I might start doing again, which is really good. But I was eating much lesser calories at the beginning of all this, which worked well. I had 20 pounds that melted off my frame, which was crazy. A lot of body fat. I really had a lot of body fat. I was just kind of round. On this day, I finished around 2,600, roughly, give or take. And my proteins, like I said, so you can see my proteins always hit. I always make sure to hit. That's my primary goal. Just for, like I said, trying to make sure I maintain lean muscle. I'm never going to be a big natural dude. From my understanding, muscle mass is based largely on your overall skeletal frame, and I do not have a big skeletal frame. Even my dad, I have a very similar body to my dad. When he was in my age, he was actually smaller than I am even now, like 130-ish pounds. In his 30s. So I'm 35 now, I'm going on 36, but you can't see it. Maybe I'll do some measurements one of these days, and we'll talk about that kind of stuff. These are things I'm understanding from watching a lot of channels and studying a lot of content as far as building muscle. I have, and I always have, obviously, because your skeletal frame is what it is. I have a very, very small skeletal frame. So my muscular frame, there we go, it can only get so big. You have a natural limit, and I'm sure I'm nowhere near that, but I'm slowly progressing over time, okay? But I'm never going to be a giant dude. I'd like to add on and maybe be around like 160. I don't know. We'll see what happens over the years. I would like to get around 160, but just over time adding those 20-ish pounds as muscle. That would be the goal. That's what I'd like to do. So I'll continue to tinker with the nutrition, and I'll play with the fitness, and we'll see what happens. Make it sustainable over time. So I hope you enjoyed. This was a longer video today, but I wanted to show you what happens away. Still maintaining, still making sure it's sustainable, still enjoying myself, not being that person that's just like, I can't eat that, or I don't want to do that, or being very specific and restrictive on my diet while I'm away and kind of being that downer, right? You don't have to. You can still enjoy the things that you love. You just have to do it in a nice, balanced approach. So I carved out, I made sure I had room in my calories in versus calories out to enjoy my pizza. I didn't go crazy trying to input it and trying to get it exact. I just guessed, average, whatever. If it was a little under, if it was way under, it doesn't matter. You'll see the before and afters. A week is not going to throw you completely off track if you have long-term in mind. Okay, I've been at this for a while now. So it doesn't really matter. Things are going to go up and down here and there as I figure it out, but sustainability over time is what matters, and enjoying myself and just being happy. We've got one life to live and a very short period of time to live it. So might as well be in the best condition you can, but also be happy. Okay? So I'll wrap this up, and that's it. So I'm going to go into post with all the content that I have, put this together. If you have any questions, comments, like I said, I appreciate anything you leave below, any comments you have, any likes you have, any just the views, anything at all helps me see that this content is good and helps me continue to grow my channel and keep at this as a full-time gig versus having to get a job and not having much time to do all this content and put this stuff all together. So with that said, Jason here. I'll see you guys next video. Keep doing what it takes.